Okay, we are not live. Why are we not live?
You're just showing the Twitch screen, so I see you.
We're on Twitch? We're live on Twitch?
Mm-hmm.
There you go.
I'm getting a Hall of Mirrors effect now on here.
I was gonna.
Can you minimize your browser window? And then pull up your Zoom window. I think I see Stellan and me at the top right.
How many of you do you see though?
Yeah, now we see you because you're talking.
But as soon as you pull up your browser, you get that Hall of Mirrors.
Wonder, is it a full desktop share?
It's because you have Switch up, I think.
Oh, now it looks good.
Yeah.
Are we good now?
We see a full screen for the person that's talking.
It's confused because I disconnected my second monitor. But yeah, if I go over there, that's what it's got, is that craziness.
But can you minimize the browser and bring up your presentation?
No.
Yeah, if we just
At least switch off the Twitch. Yeah, switch off the Twitch.
there you go. Just switch over to the Google Slides, that tab.
The infinite recursion Hall of Mirrors is always fun.
Okay, that's perfect.
Solid.
So FG_SamZ says, is there a Zoom meeting link for coaches?
So the coach call will be immediately following this one on this channel.
And if you have the Twitch stream open somewhere else, you definitely need to mute it so it doesn't cycle back through.
Okay, my clock says it's 9 o'clock. We have 49 viewers. We've got our screen share worked out, right?
Yes.
Can you see the controls when I go to switch slides as well?
Yes.
Is that bad?
No.
Okay.
Not the end of the world.
You could probably use the arrow key, right?
Yeah, just on your keyboard or something.
$56 viewers. So people are logging in. Why do I not see the? So I'm seeing the count going up and it says, welcome to the chat room, but I'm not in chat.
There's a chat button you've got to click on Twitch to get the chat window side open.
At the top right, there's a little arrow to expand the chat screen to the right.
And yeah, we definitely want people muted when they're not actively talking. There's a feedback to the Twitch channel right now.
Well, I hear it on the Zoom. So I think, but it was last night. So I think it's the KCEZ.
We're just on, the only audio we have coming out is Phil's laptop at this point. So you can mute us and see if it goes away. Mute yourself, Phil.
Yeah, that got rid of the hissing. So the hissing's from.
Do you guys have like snakes there or something? Or yeah, just check around your feet, maybe.
Okay. Okay, it's quiet. It's 9:03. My Twitch stream says we've got 69 viewers. So are we ready to go, everybody? Good morning, good morning, good morning. Everybody's saying good morning. Okay. Let's see. This works. No. So welcome to the Missouri and Kansas kickoff. It's been an interesting morning. We're all learning. This is like remote school all over again, except for the FTC committee. So we're going to go ahead and start. And I'm going to have to get used to hearing my voice in a lag. This is weird. So we know we're a game changer season powered by Star Wars. We are part of the global robotics community, preparing young people for the future. So I just wanted to remind you that, you know, the other programs are out there. First Lego League Challenge, First Lego League Explore are also playing Game Changers games, and FRC is going to replay last year's game. But of course, our favorite program, First Tech Challenge. Our game this season is Ultimate Goal. And I wanted to give you the agenda for today. So our thought is from 9 to 9:45, we'll introduce the key committee members. We'll have some Skystone highlights. We'll do the ultimate goal overview with mega league structures, remote events, and then we do have some team level prizes at the end. So even if it gets kind of slow in the middle, you want to hang around for those prizes. At 10 o'clock, we're going to switch to breakout sessions. So if you stay here on this Twitch channel, you're going to watch the coach breakout session. If you switch to First Mo Kansas 1, that's a field breakout session at the KCEZ. They'll talk about the field, the parameters, they'll walk through, they'll answer your questions. For the third breakout room, that's First Mo Kansas 2. That's going to be a team Kahoot or an individual Kahoot, however you're playing. And so that's to show what you know about the season, what you learned from today's presentation, and there are individual prizes over there. Don't worry about it. We're going to show this slide again at the end of the program. Introductions. The voice you're hearing is me. I'm Laura Roth. I'm one of the program delivery partners, and I also do communications. Tom, do you want to say hi?
So, hi, everybody. I know you all are used to seeing me in some kind of costume out front. Best I could do is my FTA vest there in the back corner behind me. I am head FTA and one of the partners for Missouri, and you're going to hear me off and on through this. Laura and I will be switching off on various slides and things. So, Phil, you want to introduce yourself real quick?
Hi, I'm Phil Wood, and I coordinate the activities in the Kansas City area, and I will be hosting the field walkthrough a little bit later at 10 o'clock.
So we also have some introductions to make. Jared, do you want to zoom on in?
Yeah, thanks, Laura. Pumped to be part of the team this year, and yeah, excited for the season. Thanks a lot, Laura.
So Jared's going to have a new role called the Regional Judge Advisor. So he's the one who's going to go to all the calls with headquarters to make sure that our judging is consistent across all of our events. Michael? I don't know if Michael's there or not at the moment. You want to say hi?
Hey, good morning, everyone. Oh, there you go. Finally clicked over. Good morning, everyone. Michael Lucido here. I've been on FTC for a few years now, wearing the stripes for a couple, and been in first since 2012. Oh, I cut out. Laura, I think you took the mic away from me, so.
Head referee for Michael. Okay. The reason Michael has been promoted to head referee is because our head referee, our normal head referee for the last, gosh, I don't even know how many years, has been Harold Cole. And so this is our little homage to Harold. And the center is him winning the Volunteer of the Year in 2014, I believe. So you can send thanks notes or any things you want to send to Harold. You can go ahead and send them to the FTC at stlfirst.org. We know there's lots of conversations over the years between Harold and the teams.
And then,
Okay, are we good? We have any questions, comments, anything yet?
well, we also want to introduce one of our other committee members, Robin Lady. Let her say hi real quick. She'll be running our third room for us.
Good morning. I just want to let you know that I have a really fun Kahoot all ready for us this morning. Thank you for Tom and Laura and everybody that polished up the questions, but we will be running the Kahoot on the third Twitch channel. And if you want for me to be able to see your answers and for your answers to be broadcasted through Kahoot, you'll have to log into Kahoot. So I will have all of that information there. Thanks, guys.
Thanks, Robin.
And we're all still good. There aren't any questions yet on the Twitch stream, so.
Okay. Really hasn't been anything to question yet. It's just learning to coordinate all of these different things happening. So we wanted to do a quick recap of Skystone. So last year for Skystone, we ran 38 meets, 7 qualifiers, 2 conference qualifiers, and 1 48 team championship. It was an awesome season. We loved seeing you guys. The weather, woohoo, the weather was not bad last year. We just had to cancel a couple of things. We rescheduled the Belton qualifier, but everything happened. So it wasn't anything like the year before. Last season, we served 213 teams, 186 from Missouri, 27 from Kansas.
And I'm going to throw in here, just because I happened to be on a conversation with headquarters yesterday about Missouri having run one of the first pilots with 9 teams 16 years ago when this all started. So it's kind of fun to see where we've come to.
We definitely have grown. I think this year is going to be the weird one, right? But it's been really fun seeing the number of teams, the number of schools, the number of students really get involved and grow. So you saw Robin a minute ago. So Robin and Matt Snyder were volunteers of the year last year at our championship. They were not able to be there in person because they were working with their FRC team that was going to be competing at the St. Louis Regional the next weekend. The good news is our championship happened. The bad news is the St. Louis Regional got canceled. So it's really been a heartbreaking kind of year around here. So Compass Award winner, Ann Stafford, team 6547 did a great job nominating her as the mentor for the Compass Award. We got lots of tears from Ann when she saw it initially playing in the rotation, and then even more tears when she won. So the team considered that a success because that was their goal, was to make Ann cry.
And I
So
want to throw in here, the thing about the Compass Award, this is an award that the students have to nominate the adults for. And your adults aren't going to ask you to do it. They're not going to bring it up. They're not going to say, hey, put me in for this award. But it's one of the best things you can possibly do for a coach or mentor. Even the nomination itself ends up meaning a lot to those folks. And I know as a team member, they mean a lot to you. So it's worth taking a note right now. Hey, let's make sure and do the Compass Award this year.
the Promote Award, that's for a public service announcement. So again, somebody that on your team that's good on video production. So last year that was won by team 9612, the Lasagnaneers. And ooh, I had to spell check that one a couple of times on the slides yesterday. So we had Dean's List finalists from our Skystone season. The ones that were recognized, the 4 were recognized at our championship at Rolla. Aubriana Alvarado, Alex George, Sophie Maniscalco, and Braden Wibb. And then we are thrilled to once again recognize the fact that Sophie was a Dean's List winner. That was announced at the first showcase. And if you were watching, you saw her in the first kickoff for this season. So we're going to get more information from Sophie as the year goes on as what she gets as an experience of being a Dean's List winner. You want to do those, Tom?
Sure, I'd be happy to. Our Missouri Championship Inspire winners, as you remember, right, Missouri or Inspire is that top award that you can get. It's a combination of showing you have all the right values in first, that you have thought about your design, that you have followed through in a good engineering plan, that you have a good business plan, that you do outreach, all of the activities that we look for in a top team. And it's always exciting and great when we get to announce these. So the Inspire Award winners from last year, third place was 3664 Girls with Attitude, Chaffee Industrial Arts. Second place was team 6547, Cobalt Colts, the community team. And then the winner for Inspire was Team 3409, Astromex, Kansas City Robotics Foundation. So the advancement for Skystone to Houston Championship, which we were sad, maybe not as sad as you all that you didn't get to go, but we certainly were right there with you about it. All these teams were the ones that we had advanced. 3409 Astromex, of course, and there's their picture from their banner. 7357 Team Titanium Tech, 6547 Cobalt Colts, 3658 the Bosons, 3664 Girls with Attitude, 11126 Revolution Robotics, and 10265 Force Green.
Okay, so that's the end of Skystone Recap. Now we're going to move on to Ultimate Goal, where big goals get big results. This is a new slide that first put up after their announcement on Friday. So part of what Team Fit is being part of Ultimate Goal this season is gameplay. So we're going to talk about the gameplay in great detail. And then they've added the Innovation Challenge. So for those of you who were first Lego Leaguers, you remember the project. This is that same kind of concept coming over to First Tech Challenge and First Tech Challenge and First Robotics Competition are adding the Innovation Challenge as an additional challenge opportunity this year. And so we'll get more information on that from First as it goes. They're not sure how many people are going to submit. If it's a smaller proportion all the way around, they think they'll judge it all at the headquarters level. If we end up with a lot of entries from Missouri, Kansas, then we might have to insert a level of judging here prior to moving on. So that's one that's a lot more to come. For awards, of course, all the awards are still in the system, so we're going to talk about some of that as we move along. And then don't want to forget the scholarship and career opportunities for you as first participants. Parents get very excited when you say over $80 million of scholarship money is available. So we want to make sure you're looking at that. Application dates are going up as people are loading them for this season. So this is for seniors, sure, and juniors should be looking. So, okay, this is me because I'm the one that does all the number pulling and everything. So currently we have registered 86 teams that have paid their first registration and their Missouri registration. And that's how you get moved over to our FTC scores, Mo FTC scores. That means we're counting you as fully registered. We know you're really going to pay. So Mo FTC scores, this is a screenshot of the team list there. So that's a site where we post that information. There are nationally registered 117 teams. So there's still quite a few of you who need to pay the Missouri fee so that we know you're really in. We've asked that registration be paid by October 30th so that we can set up the league structures. The sooner the better though. The quicker people do that, that's great. I also know I owe a few people some paperwork. So we're gonna get you there. So remote play reasoning. So Tom and I have the fun of being the program delivery partners, the responsibility of deciding how we run the system here. And we spent a lot of time this summer and then with the committee talking about we can't get our usual facilities. We don't know what's going to happen with COVID. Do we say, we're going to start in remote, maybe move? Do we try to keep finding places? And so we decided it was better for us and for you, the teams, to know what was certain. So we've made the call, the committee has made the call that we will be remote gameplay, no in-person competitions until the possibility for state. So we know it's a challenge. We've talked to a lot of coaches. We're trying to figure out how to help you, how to support. First has made season guidance for COVID-19 interruptions. So if you haven't seen that, that's a great one to go to. So we can keep going here with remote play characteristics. Tom, you want that one?
Sure, I'll take this one. So remote play, notice we're not calling it virtual play because you're not playing on the internet, you're playing real robots, real hardware, real game pieces. So remote play. It's at your own site. So if it's your garage, your robotics lab, friend's living room, whatever it needs to be, right? You play on your own field, and it's done through an FTC live scoring app. And we'd love to tell you more about that, but we haven't seen a demo of it ourselves quite yet. We're supposed to get to start playing with that sometime here in the next week or two. And it's all done through a similar system to what we were doing for the previous years. Justin, you need to go away.
I'm ready for
And sorry, everybody gets used to that in this new world, right? That would have been my 11-year-old. So it's a web-based scoring system that is just like what you would download in the years past to run your game on the field. You enter your scores as you play. You have the ability to play as many matches as you want, whenever you want. And then when it's an actual meet, you say, this is a real one, and you hit the button and that one counts. We'll know more as it develops. All of the judging for remote play is done online. It'll be done through some kind of virtual meeting like this, Zoom, Team Central. We're not sure what the actual platform is yet. That's still being worked out. We strongly recommend that you take a look at Game Manual 1 for remote events, Game Manual 2 for remote events. And then every Thursday, there's updates to the remote team resources. And all those links are available. You can go take a look at them, see what's different. Because in remote play, there are a few things different, starting with the field, which we'll talk about next. So the field is played on essentially 2/3 of a regular field. It's 8 by 12. And so it's the middle panel of one wall is left out. And it's half of the equipment you would normally use. There are some low-cost options. You don't have to buy the Andy Mark stuff, but you do have to buy the wobble goal and the rings. And that's a consistency thing to make sure everybody's using the same stuff. Phil, as you mentioned already, at 10 a.m. we'll be doing a walkthrough. They've got a field set up. They'll be able to touch, move, handle, answer any kinds of questions about those kinds of things. And we recommend, once again, you take a look at the remote event requirements guide, which First has out there, as a way of looking at exactly what else you need. The field walls are optional this year, but you've got rings rolling around. And if you've seen any videos of people doing this already, the rings really roll around. So it's nice to have that barrier to stop it at some point. I guess I'll keep on a roll, Laura.
Keep going.
Okay. So how we're going to organize play this year? We're formally moving to a league structure, which I just noticed we missed. No, we didn't. Never mind. A league structure. So the way things work out, teams are going to be assigned to a league, and we're working off hopefully a geographic basis for future thought. But this year, with it being remote, that's not quite as big an issue. We really want the leagues to be between 24 and 36 teams because that's the right size for a tournament. And then at the current numbers, we're looking at either 4 or 5 leagues. And that'll, once we've got all the registrations, remember October 30th is that deadline to make sure, we'll make those determinations. And once that's set, you're assigned to that league. We're going to balance them out this year. So we may shift a team from one place to another a little bit to keep the numbers as even as absolutely possible, because all leagues will have the same advancement to the state championship. And, we're working kind of off of the conference layouts from last year, but with some recognition that sometimes geographic barriers are different than what it looks like on the map as far as where it's close. All right, so how this works out. Each league is going to have 5 meets scheduled. And once we get those leagues set up, you're going to have a little bit of input of which weekends those are. So five meets, does that mean you can play in them all? It does this year, because we don't have to limit the size of a meet to 12 teams. Because of the virtual, one of the advantages is everybody can play in all the meets. You do need to play or really want to play in at least 2 of them. So if you can't make one, no biggie, you play in another one. Your top 10 scores count. Now, one of the things that's interesting is you're also playing 6 matches per meet. That's a standard this year. Your top 10 scores, and they don't have to be from the same meet. So you play in 3 meets, you could end up taking 2 scores from each meet. Those 10 scores feed into the league championship. So when you get to the league championship, teams are already ranked. You already know going in who's got a lead, who doesn't. That's different. We haven't done that before, but it means the meets count for a little bit more as far as you're continuing on than they have in the past. That league championship will be all 36 teams, or all 24 teams, the entire league, and then teams from the league championship will advance to the Missouri State Championship.
So do we have any questions out there in the feed?
I don't have anything on. Oh, here we have one. Will playing in 5 continue through to future years, or will it be limited to 2 meets? Good question. What we would like to see, if you do the math, to get everybody in a 36 team league 5 meets, you need a lot of meets when it's limited to 12 teams, right? We can't manage and support all that from a overall system. What most regions do is they have a league manager that works with the teams in the area and sets up their meet dates. And what most regions end up doing is setting up like 5 meets with the expectation that teams are going to make 3 or 4 of them, or one might get snowed out or something like that. So how many times you'll get to play in the future is going to be a little dependent on cooperation from you all and people willing to step up and be part of managing a league. Speaking personally, I would love to see it where every team's getting to play at least 3 meets, and that we don't run meets with 6 teams. That, we, in the past where we said, nope, you only get 2, we fill them so that all meets have 12, as opposed to some of them having 6, some having 4, or 8, that kind of thing. Because there's no disadvantage in playing more. And the more robots can play, the better off I think teams tend to be. All right.
So we do have a question, but I also wanted to just say that leagues is something we've been thinking about for a while, right? We knew that pretty much Southeast teams played together and played at the Southeast qualifier. Southwest teams played together and played at the qualifier. This remote version of gameplay this year, we thought was a good opportunity for us as a committee to start league play so that we could not put anybody in charge. We can help you work through it. We can see how it goes. We can figure out the best way to do things. Okay, so Bill's question was, will you try and set up an early league to finish before FRC?
So we are not going to be able to have a complete fall league. First has already informed us they will not have the live remote hub, which is what we need for the judging. because this ties right into the rest of this, that league championships have judging and gameplay. But we need the remote hub to be able to do the judging. And First has said that won't be ready until at best mid-December. So we can't get a league championship in this fall. We are going to have at least one meet, possibly two, before the end of the semester, so that people can use that if they need it for a, in-class grade assessment, whatever. The intent is very much for every league to have a meet available either the first or second week of December, and possibly two, depending on what the league decides. The second question was if the league championships are just like open qualifiers were in the past. There's full gameplay, there's full judging. The only difference is that your top 10 scores from your meets count as well. So instead of ranking being off of the 6 matches at your qualifier, they're off 16 matches using your best 10 from the meets as a base. And the idea in that, of course, is that you are rewarding teams that have done better across the season. And it is 6 matches per meet. So we got a question there that you can pick the top 10 scores out of your maximum of 30 matches. That is correct. The other question is, when do we anticipate first meets to start? First week in December. We are going to be shooting for some week 0 meets mid-November, which won't count. They're intended for us to be able to work out the system and learn from it and figure out how we need to explain things and manage the rest of it. Okay, another good question about from team 7457, must remote events be played on weekends? No, that's the thing. Let's go ahead and flip to the next slide here.
I was going to say, we have slides for these things. So
Yeah.
That's good that everybody's thinking along the lines that we were thinking. So let's move on.
So for leagues, or for meets specifically, right? 5 scheduled meets per league, 6 matches per meet. You want to play in at least 2 to get your scores. The 10 best scores carry into the league championships. We already talked about that. Scores are based off of your score. So not win-loss, there's no RP, there's no tiebreaker points this year. It's off of your score. And that leads into something really important as we talk about gracious professionalism and the fact that you're self-scoring. There isn't a ref looking over your shoulder. Somebody on your team is entering the scores as you go. And we in FTC believe our folks in First are good enough that works, that we can trust people, that gracious professionalism and sense of honor and integrity is going to work fine for this. The meets are set up to be open from Sunday of that week through Saturday sometime. Now, we reserve the right to put a cutoff time on a Saturday because part of what we need to do is scores are not going to be posted as you go. You'll be able to see your scores, but you won't be able to see anyone else's until the meet is over. And they did that on purpose, just so that nobody's looking at it trying to go, oh, they got a better score, I got to go run another one. So that's not visible until afterwards. And so we may need to put a cutoff time on it so that we can get things updated and moved on to the next week kind of thing. We won't know that until we have the actual software to work with, which once again, we're hoping mid-October here. The meets aren't limited to 12 teams. Everybody in the league can play in it. And there's no judging in the meets. It's just the robot play.
So just a couple of comments to that. So we introduced Michael as our head referee, but there are no official referees for meets, right? We said you're scoring yourself. First is going to be producing information, videos about how to use the live scoring app, any hints or training that we need. And then Michael is available to then do anything we want to do as a community. Again, if we need more streaming discussions, we need to post some things. Any clarifications will go out in the Tech Tuesdays, those kind of things, right? So we did have a question about league championships, so let's switch. Oh,
Oh, yes, we did this on purpose because
We did.
judging happens on league championships, but not meets. And so we wanted to talk real quick about the judging championships, or the judging changes, right? So once again, league championships are going to run across the week from Sunday till sometime Saturday, probably like noonish on Saturday. Because, and we'll talk about that on the next slide here, but within judging, there's some big changes. You're going to be doing a video conference like this with your judges. And one of the things first mandated this year, judging is 10 minutes. That's it. It's 5 minutes where you get to talk to the judges uninterrupted and 5 minutes for questions from them. So you really have to be on the ball of highlighting exactly what you want them to hear, because you only get that 5 minutes to do it. There's some things to submit in advance of your scheduled time, and that's the engineering portfolio. The engineering portfolio is a new thing. We don't have an engineering notebook requirement this year. The portfolio is a maximum of 15 pages that highlights and documents how you believe you should be getting each of the awards. Look at the manual for the explanations. There's some really good materials that show samples of what it should look like and the kinds of things you want to include. The control award is the only thing that requires a video this year to be submitted. And what they want to see is they want to see your robot doing what you say it can do. That's always been part of the control award. You tell the judges what you think it can do, and then they come out and watch, and if it doesn't do what it says it can do, then they mark it. And Jared's more than happy to hop in here if I say something wrong. I can see his feedback
That's great.
elsewhere.
You're covering it, Tom. You're on point. Thanks, man.
The other new thing is the optional judge feedback request form. So after years of bringing this up at headquarters, years and years of bringing this up at headquarters, this year, finally, teams are going to be able to get feedback from the judges. But you have to submit a form saying, yes, I want feedback. I want feedback on these things. And it's, once again, look at the manual for that. The judges aren't going to just give you free feedback of whatever. It's going to be tied to what's on the form. And that was done because a lot of teams don't care, don't want feedback. And we needed a way to kind of keep consistent what judges had in the range of what they could say and what they could do, so that one event to the next made sense. That's always been the hang up of why no feedback. Because as you all know from events, one set of judges at an event might see something different than the next set of judges. And you don't necessarily want to correct from one to the next if it's not going to help you overall.
Yeah, last thing I'd say, just on the judging, we're super excited about this. A lot of, I'd say, lean into the changes. Just kind of recommendations for the team is, leverage, look at some of these things as opportunities. The prepared materials and the time that the judges are going to have with your materials and the video for the control award. Just lean into all that stuff because it's all going to be super helpful from a process perspective. So
A lot of this will.
Yep, we're looking forward to it.
Sorry.
I mean-
I think going to the remote events is going to give us some really good opportunities. I've always been the check-in girl, so trying to get people's engineering notebooks and trying to get them to the judges fast enough for them to flip through them before they interview the teams, that really hasn't worked very well, right? So this is an opportunity to narrow down what you want, and the judges will give you a deadline in the remote event hub in advance where that has to be turned in. And then the judges have an opportunity to look at it before the team actually has their interview. So it'll all hopefully make things run smoother.
We got a question about the link to the video and where
Not
that gets
seeing
submitted.
all of it in play yet.
Yep, everything goes to the remote event hub. So there's this remote software that we load the teams in that say these teams are part of the league, these teams are playing at these meets, and then for the league championship, it then assigns we don't know exactly how it all works yet, but you end up assigning a time for judging, and you have a link to submit whatever video you need, and you have a link to submit your engineering portfolio, which of course is all online digital materials this year. So all those things are done through the remote event hub.
And the remote event hub is not done yet and is not expected to be done until sometime in December, which is why we can't have judging events in December like we would have had a December 10th or whatever qualifier. We can't do that. So that's what messes up our early league discussion.
All right, so back to our league championships. These are essentially identical to what used to be our qualifiers, whether it was conference qualifier or regular qualifier. Everything applies in a league championship. The only difference is your top 10 matches from the meets carry in as part of your score. We're still going to run them Sunday through, currently we're saying noon Saturday. And the reason for that is, of course, that judges have to be able to deliberate, because we want to do an award ceremony on Twitch sometime Saturday evening, so that we can continue to be together as a community somewhat, and do some fun things. Who knows, maybe I'll get my 11-year-old to cheer. He loves to do that. So some things like that, just in a way to celebrate what we do. But your matches are played any time during the week, just like they are regularly. The judging will be at a specifically set time, because that's going to take judges being on a video stream like this. That's going to take your team in some fashion being part of it. And we'll know more in December when we get our hands on that software to try it out.
So the question that's there about the control award, link to video, and a little bit of Jared's, again, we're not 100% sure, but my understanding from the last call was you give us a link. You're not uploading the video into the remote event hub, you're giving them a link to where to go look for it. So it could be Google, could be YouTube, could be any number of places. That's a TBD.
And the number of teams advancing the Missouri State Championship is going to be dependent on the Missouri State Championship, which is our next slide. Oh, no, Dean's List first.
Nope, Dean's List is next. So Dean's List is going to continue. Each team gets to nominate 2 sophomores or juniors for a Dean's List. Those are the kids that are the best representatives of first. We will do interviews via a video conference. So again, kind of like the remote event hub, maybe through the event hub, we're not sure. We're going to go ahead and make it independent of league championships this year. So in a qualifier world, we always tried to catch those Dean's List kids in their judging and their rounds and all those kind of things. And it's really hard on the students to be able to participate fully and worry about, oh my gosh, the robot's broken and I need to be out there kind of thing. And we also were, good news, bad news, right? Good news, we were getting so many applications that we needed 2 judge panels in some cases. And so that takes away from the judges to do the regular judging. So interviewing will be independent. And so we're thinking more of maybe like a week in February. And that means that students would have more, you'd have more information on the students, and they'd have more to tell us about what they did during the season. So the application date for all of that is TBD. Headquarters is still working on the Dean's List manuals, and expect them out mid to late October. So it's one of those things to watch for, but we wanted to make sure you're thinking about your Dean's List.
All right, so Missouri State Championship. The bottom headline says it all. It will be awesome. We can't tell you quite how or where yet, but it will be awesome. The reason we have a date for this, we know it's going to be March 13th, I think that's what we've got on our next slide. But we can't say quite where yet. We're going to be continuing parallel path planning on this of remote for now, but we're really hoping to be able to do some level of in-person play. It's, as you all know, it's week by week decisions somewhat still of what size in person you can get, how in person you can get. And just like you all, we're keeping all kinds of ideas and contingencies in mind. My dream sort of situation on this is that all the judging is still done online and we're able to bring the team in for some level of in-person play. At a minimum, I would love to see our eliminations done in person. And you know, if we can get to that, it would be a great experience because not many places would manage to have played with another robot yet. So we'd probably need a couple rounds of letting people play with other robots to get a feel for how that works different. I don't envision that we're going to be able to do something like Missouri S&T with 48 teams and full giant fields and everything else. I'm envisioning something smaller where it may just be the drive team and the adult coaches and minimal event staff, and we'll have to see. So we promise that this is something we're going to continue to be watching and monitoring and tickling for leads on things. We won't really be able to announce it until end of January, early February, probably, which works okay because all the league championships are going to be in February. So before the league championships, we'll know what the situation is for state. So that'll be up front, and everybody will have a chance to get that. The entry fee we haven't set on. That's going to depend on physical versus not. Promote and Compass will happen just like it always does. You know, those are things you submit electronically. You always have. This is a great year to make sure and do that. We already talked about the impact that Compass can have on your mentor or coach. And then, you know, of course, we'll have an awards and season wrap up of some kind tied to it regardless, where we'll announce the Dean's List finalists and do some of the other end of season kinds of things we clean up. We've got a question that says at league championships, there's no alliance captains and all that semifinal and final match process. That is correct. For league championships, since they're all remote, it is just off of highest score. There is no winning captain 1, winning captain 2. It's just highest score. We really would like, that's one of the reasons we really would like to manage to get an in-play, actual in-person championship for the robot play, so that we do an alliance selection situation and it's a bit more of a traditional who won on the field for the state championship. And it's going to be awesome. Promise, whatever it is.
Yes, that's Tom's contribution to that big slide. Woohoo!
Laura, you want to talk through the timing one?
Sure. So I think we've talked about a lot of it as we've gone along, but the meets are definitely remote. We're hoping for one meet in the first 2 weeks of December. We always tried to get those December qualifiers in there, so we're going to go with that model before you stop for your break. And then 4 meets in January and February. Again, I think Tom mentioned, it's hard for me to keep track of everything we've talked about, but maybe some scrimmage kind of opportunities prior to those. Again, it all depends on when the scoring's available and how we do this. But the meets for a league, we're promising 5 scheduled. So league championships are remote, and that's going to depend. So we've got the 3 Saturdays in February, and can't do all of them at the same day. Again, judging restriction sizes, all that kind of stuff. So we'll figure out where those fall for sure. And then the Missouri State Championship, we're looking at March 13th. We looked at a whole bunch of school calendars, to make sure we got it in before spring break. And then Easter's right behind spring break for most of you guys. So that looked like, even though First has said we can extend our season, that looked like a really good stopping place to us. Again, we don't know if we're going to be forced to be remote or if we're going to be able to be in person, and then we're going to need to find the location, and the location may cost us money. And so all of those kind of things have left championship. But again, the idea with this kickoff, and part of the reason it was delayed from the same day as first kickoff, is we were trying to get some of these things nailed down as much as we could. And we want to be very open and sharing. Thanks for rolling with the punches. We all are rolling with the punches. Okay, FTA, this is your slide.
You don't want to talk technical stuff, Laura?
I can. I can do it.
Okay, so there are a couple technology changes for the season. And the big one is the Rev Robotics Control Hub. It replaces the phone on your robot. So you don't need a separate cell phone anymore. And that comes with good and bad pieces, in that you don't have that connection, that USB connection that drops out and causes a problem. It's one less cable, two less cables if you consider the power piece. You also don't have the same requirements on where a phone gets put versus the control hub. The downside is if you're going to do vision, you do have to have a webcam to work with the control hub. And there's a number of them specified and recommended for you in the game manuals. The Rev Robotics Control Hub, I do recommend because of the simplification. Anytime you can get rid of cables that may or may not wear out over time, you reduce the number of connections, you make your robot more stable. I have not heard anyone who thought the control hub was a worse alternative. The places that got to pilot this last year, they all loved it. Nobody wanted to switch back. And it's what's in the rookie kit of parts. So the rookie kit of parts now, when you buy it, you get one phone and the control hub. The control hub changed to the expansion hubs that we used last year. So if you've got a couple of teams, right, you buy one each for each team and you're good. Because you use your other hubs as the extenders on this. And it's the same size, same shape. So if you've got an expansion hub and you want to be laying things out for your robot already and you don't have a control hub yet, you can use one of the expansion hubs because they are pretty much identical from that standpoint. I think that's it on the control hub.
We got 8 minutes to finish our slides here. So this one's mine because I'm the communications girl. So where to find all the stuff about what's specific to Missouri. So our website is stlfirst.org, FTC team portal. That's our page all about this season. That was built for the season. It's gotten some updates to it, but really the one you want to be watching is our Tech Tuesday newsletter. So there's a link on the team portal, or you can go to this link that has all the archived versions of the Tech Tuesday, and also has a sign up link. There's a sign up link on our Facebook page. There's a sign up link on the generic FTC page. We're trying to get it out there. Feel free to share it with anybody. Feel free to let anybody else sign up. Administrators, parents, students, there's nothing in there that is secret to coaches. And if you as a coach are overwhelmed, which I know quite a few of us are juggling multiple things, you can always put somebody else in charge of reading it, right? Mo FTC scores, that's where we showed where the teams get listed. It also has a front page with the structure of League One, Meet 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, League Championship. That's Ken Pugsley from the Astromex does that site for us, and we couldn't live without him. He's a wonderful asset to that. We are on Facebook. We are on Twitter. YouTube is where this event will get posted. and you're watching us on Twitch. So this is our main channel, First Mo Kansas, and we have 1, 2, 3, and 4 beyond that, which is part of what we'll be using for the breakout sessions. So I know I have it on a slide, but I also wanted to say that, you know, this PowerPoint will be on our website, and the recording will be on YouTube. So again, trying to keep that going. So our community, on our website, down at the bottom left-hand side, there are links. And one of the links is a team map. So it's our ultimate goal teams as of 10/2, right? I did it yesterday. And it shows, and so this is kind of what Tom looks at this for, where would the leagues break? You know, it gives us an idea of where everybody's at, where we're missing opportunities. Obviously, we're trying to get first to everybody in the state of Missouri. So where do we need to be trying to go next? But it lets you click on a team number and get a little pop-up that says, you know, the team name, the location, like what high school or middle school they're at, and their city and state. What we're trying to do is keep building our community in any way we can. So there's a link to that directly. The biggest thing we're going to miss in remote, right, is that opportunity to all get together. It's that opportunity for a rookie team to walk into a meet and go, oh my God, I never even thought of building a robot like that. Isn't that cool? How did you do that? All those kind of interactions that we get, the friends that you make from the other team. Because, you know, from my years of doing the Dean's List interviews and talking to everybody about what's your favorite thing about First Tech Challenge, the number one thing people say is all the other team, all the friends. This is my community. I found my people, right? And so it's going to be a little bit harder this year. So we are asking every team to go ahead and give us a little short team intro video so that we can associate it with your team pin, or we can post them on Facebook. We haven't, I mean, YouTube. And I do have a sample one coming up next. That's a good way for you to see each other, to know where you're from, to if you're looking for, here's my pin, who's close to me, then you'll get a little bit extra. We're also requesting proposals for teams to deliver training. So if you're great at CAD, if you're great at outreach, any of those kind of things that you'd like to do that, we're gonna start a way to do those, and then build a library, or maybe do every Saturday there's something new out there. It's gonna depend on how it goes. We're also looking to pair experienced teams with rookies, because we do have rookies this season and we're thrilled to have them. But like I said, oh, you thought this was hard in a live thing. It's a little more interesting. Tom talked about in the scoring, and the fact that you're scoring yourself, and gracious professionalism. You don't have to turn in any videos of your matches, but we're asking if you would share your remote matches, if you'd videotape them, so that, again, people get ideas and we get to build, and we just raise the bar for everybody. So that's something, again, that'll be coming with the process to do it. Walk Like Woody Day is October 12th, and I just wanted to put that out there because our Camdenton Laser, so it's actually the FRC team, but they it's another way to celebrate community, to get on Facebook to talk about gracious professionalism. So Tesla's Nights were nice enough to make me a quick little video. So here we go.
Yeah, unfortunately, we're not getting the sound through.
Oh no, okay, sorry.
and it's choppy because it's going through Zoom. So it's not an ideal experience for this. Sorry about that.
Sorry, I need to do that in the sharing. Share computer sound. We will back it up. Share computer sound.
I'm Andrew. I'm new to
Share computer sound.
about FTC. I'm Andrew. I'm new to
Share computer sound.
about FTC. I'm Andrew. I'm new to
Share computer sound.
about FTC. I'm Andrew. I'm new to
Oh no, my filter.
about FTC. I'm Andrew. I'm new to
Oh no, my filter.
about FTC. I'm Andrew. I'm new to
Oh no, my filter.
about FTC. I'm Andrew. I'm new to
Oh no, my filter.
about FTC. I'm Andrew. I'm new to about FTC. We are Justice Lights, a community TV in Kansas City, and this is where the magic happens. Community TV in Kansas City, and this is where the magic happens.
Hi, I'm Anna. I'm new to Tesla Lights, and I'm excited for the Hi, I'm Anna. I'm new to Tesla Lights, and I'm excited for the
I'm Andrew. I'm new to Tesla Lights, and I'm excited about FTC. We are Tesla Lights, and we are excited to see you.
Okay, learning opportunities once again. Okay, learning opportunities once again. Okay, learning opportunities once again.
You need to kill your sound, Laura. That's why we're getting that.
Hang on, hang on.
You need to kill your sound, Laura. That's why we're getting that.
Hang on, hang on.
You need to kill your sound, Laura. That's why
I
we're getting that.
did. Hang on, hang on.
You need to kill your sound, Laura. That's why
I
we're getting that.
did. Hang on, hang on.
You need to kill your sound, Laura. That's why
I
we're getting that.
did. Hang on, hang on.
You need to kill your All right, so now while we get Laura reset on things, learning experience for everybody, right? Our new mixtape and our small attempt at DJ Laura. So as soon as she shares the screen again here, right? Okay, so Go Builda provided us some goodies for kickoff. We of course want to get those out to you, and we're going to do this as a team prize drawing. The first one is what they call a Beeline chassis kit, and since it hasn't been launched, we weren't allowed to show you a picture of it. But they say it will be soon, and the winners of this particular drawing are the first people to get it, which is kind of cool. They also gave us 3 $50 Go Builda credits for you all that are looking for some extra parts for your robot. And we have the giant wheel of doom, 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 doom. That was me reverbing. Laura's still on mute, so we'll get her back and hopefully sound works great, and then we'll spin and see which teams get what. So you got unmute, Laura, and let's see what happens. She still seems muted, so it looks like the winner for the Beeline kit is 12618. And we know who you are, so we know how to find you and get it to you. All right, the next three drawings are for the $50 Go Build a credit. And it looks like 7357 gets the first one. And here's the big spin. Cheer for your number. You know you can see it. 16713. So 16713 gets our second $50 Go Build a Kit. And our last one. Yeah, there's an app for everything, right? This is Wheel of Names. And you can put anything in there you want and spin it. 6168 gets a $50 Go Build a Kit. Or a gift card, not a kit. Just the first one was a kit. So we will make sure those get to the appropriate people. And thank you to Go Builda for providing those for us. They have been very interested in supporting things, much like Rev Robotics. It's been nice that we've got these other alternative systems now instead of just the Tetrix through Pitsco. I know it's opening up a lot more creativity and a lot more potential for you all to do some interesting things.
Okay, I'm back, I think. Am I good?
Yep. Sounds like you're back good, Laura.
Okay, so we're just a couple minutes late. We wanted to let you know that the breakout sessions. So if you're a coach, stay here for the coach session. If you want to go see the field at KCEZ and ask questions about field setup, they have the HandyMark set as well as the cardboard box set over there. And then Robin is running the team Kahoot. And so we have prizes over there. We're kind of thinking that's a good place for students to go that have read their game manual or want to learn more about it. Again, the recordings will be posted to YouTube. And the presentation PDF will be on the team portal. We've got the list of the prize winners, so we'll be contacting you. And then Robin will be passing us the ones from the Kahoot as well. So thank you so much for joining us, for dealing with DJ Laura's sound challenges. But all in all, I think it's really good. We've got to get everybody together. And we got some feedback this way from the teams. And if you've got any other ideas, please send us things at ftc@stlfirst.org.
And once again, thank you all. We can't do what we do without you all. We do it all for you all. And we look forward to it being a good season. What makes it work is the students and the people and the creativity. And we've got that. This is the best organization in the high schools to handle remote learning, remote teamwork, remote, the distance learning kinds of things. This is the group I'd want to do it with. So good luck to you all. You know where to find us, and we're there to help you all the way. And we'll see you in various rooms.
Okay, ready, set, bye. Okay, so Robert and Phil are in the room on First Mo Kansas 1, and Robin's jumped off to First Mo Kansas 2. So staying on this channel, we got Laura, Tom, Jared, and Michael to talk coaches. So, what do we want to talk about?
I know we shelved a couple things that were specifically for coaches as opposed to everyone, for convenience. I can't remember what they were at the moment.
Yeah, the slides are going to be on the team portal under kickoff. As soon as we get all of this done. And then the recording, the Twitch stream is recording, and those will get moved over to YouTube probably tomorrow. If you really want to listen to all the live and all the sound back and forth kind of stuff. Okay, so how many folks do we have in the room now?
It's still showing 60 people in the room.
Okay.
And what I guess what we ask is if you all have questions, if there's thoughts, let's throw them in there so that we can talk about them. And what we'll do is read them back out in case you're not seeing the chat. So what do you think the chances are of actually doing these December meets? How likely is it that first will complete the remote hub by then? The beauty of it is we don't need the judging piece for the remote hub, and they've assured us that December meets will happen. So that should not be an issue. In the worst case, you use a 2.5 minute timer and paper sheets if we have to get you in a meet in December. We've fallen back on that before when we've had to. And I wouldn't be adverse. So I'll bring this up at this point. When I was talking about the leagues, we have 8 weeks that we figured out are viable for meets throughout, but within the scheduled time. 2 of those are the first 2 weeks of December. And I'm not adverse to the idea if a league wants to split it up so that they run both first weeks of December and then 3 weeks in January, that would be okay. What we want to do is we want to get the leagues set up and then send out kind of a Google form that says what weeks can't you do of those. And that way we'll eliminate it and get it down to the 5 weeks that your league actually has options for. We can't support and we can't running all 8 weeks for everybody. So that's why we want to do it to the 5.
So we can start with some of the things.
So the question, Laura, is this the one you're answering? Any guidance on outreach for this year?
Sure, I can answer that one. So outreach for this year is going to be a challenge, right? The number one thing we were talking about for outreach was mentoring new teams, helping each other, right? So outreach is building our community as well as going outside. So on the website, on our team portal under outreach, the number one thing I put was, volunteer to mentor a rookie team or a newer team. The one that first mentioned in our call the other day was the mentor network. So this has to be your coach 1 or coach 2. Because Brian Reed in Rockwood as a team administrator tried to do it. You can't. You have to be a coach 1 or coach 2, and you go in and you say, we're looking for mentors, right? And then also going out and trying to push it through your community, through your school, in the newsletters, or send it with, try to get through parents and connections out into the world that you can mentor a first team remotely this season. And the biggest thing, like I did some volunteer outreach last year with St. Louis Public Radio, and I would have people come over and say, oh, these robots are really cool, but I'm not an engineer, right? And so there are more than just engineers that can help you with your robot competition. It's that judging presentation, getting it down to 5 minutes. 5 minutes, what's my key message? How do I present it? What's the most effective way? Because your judging may be, you don't know what the circumstances are going to be. You may be the Brady Bunch, right? You may be, your team is all at home and you've got all the little things, and the judges might be that way too, or the judges might be in one space. It's all going to depend on how it goes, but how do you effectively do that, right? It's a skill we're all having to learn. Obviously, Tom and I, handing off between this thing. So anything you can do outreach, to the schools, the younger kids in school, to your level at school, to the community at large. Again, what's your Facebook, your Twitter, your Instagram? Where are you sending out information about the amazing things that you do? Because we know in-person opportunities are going to be interesting or not at all, depending on what it is.
One thing I would just offer is, if you think about the theme of this year and how FIRST is leaning into, I think if you listen to Dean's message around like how we're going to approach, how FIRST is going to approach running this season under these challenges, the broad theme was like, look, and I think you heard Tom mention it as well, is like, this is the organization that can do this, like it's all about science, technology, enabling things. And so, as a broad theme for this year, something to consider if you want to kind of align your outreach efforts to the broader theme of this year. Obviously, there's some durable things that, the core STEM and objectives don't change year over year. But if you're looking for something for this year, like we're saying, teaching people about the remote capabilities and technologies, and this is what we do, that kind of a theme, something that just comes to mind as a interesting stint for this year. But
and the opportunities to do training as well. So that's a big one. So when we just put that one up about, or is there something that you can share with the community? Again, we may be a little more insular in our outreach this year, but I still think there are opportunities for outreach. The next question I see is, will there be locations to do meets for teams that don't have room to set a field? And the answer is yes, but. Okay, so I will send out to all the coaches a list of teams that have space and have offered to share their fields. So we have our standard field locations normally in the KCEZ, which is obviously up and live because that's where that feed is going right now. We have Springfield. Was it Drury University last year? Drury University is not letting us bring students onto campus, so it will be at Kickapoo High School. So Betsy's kind of our coordinator in the Southwest. In our Southeast, our field that we leave there is at Southeast Missouri State University. Same thing, the university doesn't want to bring additional people onto campus. So Jackson High School has a field from us to share. St. Louis, we're still trying to figure out where we can put them. Tom's got the storeroom with the fields, but St. Louis Community College is in the same boat, right? Trying to limit the number of people on campus and the number of opportunities. We have had Lutheran, so the STEM to You program has said they're willing to open their field. In Kansas City, the Astromex and the Cobalt Colts. Again, it tends to be facilities that are either a private team that can do that, or a school that has the ability to put it like in a separate building or somewhere where there's an easy entrance and exit. So we're trying. The intent with those was really to give you somewhere locally if you wanted to go see it, to figure out, do I want real equipment or the cardboard kind of stuff. We as a committee made a very conscious decision to lower our registration fees for the state from the $225 that they were last year. So rookies don't know what they normally were, down to the $100 this year, because we knew you were going to incur some expenses in order to do a field of your own. So those fields will be around, but you don't know what's going to happen, right? So, Kickapoo High School may go totally remote and be like nobody in the building, right? And so if you're counting on them to play, that's kind of a dangerous proposition. The minimum requirements are those wobble goals and the rings, 10 rings. And I've written it in multiple newsletters, and I should know the numbers off the top of my head, but 36, Tom?
I think it's $37.
$37. That's not much. You can tape off the field. You can use the cardboard. And they said the cardboard was about $12. So we lowered your rate by $125, and you can build a field for 50, 60. If you do PVC border with some cardboard on it, you're up another maybe $20. So again, the fields are there, but I want to really encourage you to be prepared to do it on your own. But we will send the list out of everybody that wants to do it. And if you're somebody who's willing to or has permission, this is, again, you set the rules. So how many people come, when they come, how long they can stay, that they wear masks, that you get everybody's contact information in case you have to do any contact tracing. All of those kind of things are on you by opening your field. And we appreciate it, and we understand the craziness of all of this. Tom, you want to answer the who's running the leagues question?
Sure. So the leagues, the idea on the leagues, ultimately is that yes, the committee is still responsible overall, but we end up with a league manager that works with the teams that are part of the league to say which weekends work best for everyone. And it becomes more of a local decision instead of us kind of shotgunning 50 events out there and saying what works for you. The leagues then are able to say more specifically, we know these weekends are going to work better. It's something we're looking more at, being more interested or more concerned with, particularly for next year when we go back to hopeful in-person play. With remote play, it's a little easier because it's open all week. It's not as big an issue. But as coaches, and we deal with this too, how many weekends can we commit? Which weekends are possible? My team has band this week or ACTs are that week. It's really hard for us to know that for 220 teams. It's a lot easier for a league manager to work with 24 to 36 teams and across an 8-week period, find 5 that work. So that's what we're hoping for. In addition, we've got the idea that we have a field centered in Southeast Missouri. We have a field centered down in Southwest Missouri. We have KC-EZ out in the Northwest area. We have a couple places that are possible in St. Louis area that can be kind of a host site for that, for meets where the equipment can move if it needs to, if teams don't have it specifically themselves. And so that's where we're going for on it, is to try and work towards not necessarily autonomy, but a little more ownership locally of when you play, to help eliminate some of the scheduling problems of there isn't a meet I can get to, or those kinds of things.
Again, there'll be multiple meets, and you really only have to play at 2 to get your 10 best scores. So it's a little bit flexible. So the coach mailing list, oh gosh, near and dear to my heart. That's my question, right? So by becoming a coach 1 or a coach 2 in the first system, so that's the first dashboard, you automatically are enrolled in all of the first messaging. So they do team blasts out to everybody. And then there's also the general community announcements. Within Missouri, we use our Tech Tuesday. So I am gonna get off of my random wheel of names and get over to our team portal and share my screen real quick. So this is stlfirst.org. And if you are trying to get there, you can go First Tech and then the team portal. But I just recommend you bookmark this page. We have archived materials from the previous seasons. And then this is the explanation of the season, and this is the quick and easy pay that $100 entry fee. Down here at the bottom, these are the quick links that we talked about. So this takes you to MoFTC scores. And so this is telling us 89 teams right now. It's got our layout with League One meets 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and League Championship. So that's our tentative layout and our state championship. You can go to the team list. So there's all the teams. When they get assigned leagues, the leagues will be here to show which ones they're in. It also has all the history going back. So you can follow along, you know, you can see how long somebody's been playing and how well they've played. Once the events are up, we'll see how everything goes with the scoring. This was normally our scoring site as well, but because we'll be doing it all through the app with the live, we're not sure that we're really going to need to do any scoring over there. There's the link to the team location map for this season. So again, zoom in, zoom out, but if I click on Rolla, they're stacked. They do stack by location, but it's bringing up minor clue. This is where we're thinking we can put more information about the teams. Or if you're looking for a specific team, you can click on the team and it'll find it for you. Why is everybody in St. Louis? There we go. There's another one on the other side of the state. And you can zoom in and out. The big one is the Tech Tuesday newsletter. So this was the question. The Tech Tuesday newsletter goes out to anyone on our mailing list. You don't have to be a coach. And it's in your mailbox at 6 a.m. on Tuesday morning, and it talks about what we're doing. So we've been doing this for a while. So there's a whole bunch of them, but this season pretty much started right here in August. You can join the mailing list from here. And you can see the archived. So this was the one saying, woohoo, we're going to have a kickoff. All of these are links. All these are buttons that take you places. Here's pay your national registration, pay your Missouri registration, all the stuff for the seniors, some reminders down at the bottom. This is sometimes blocked by school districts. So you need to check your trash. You need to see where it's going. Sometimes people have to put them to their personal email addresses to make sure they get them. KC First has got a website, and I know they were trying to get some things updated. There was a controversy with the team that it didn't say everything was remote on the Kansas City, so they thought it was maybe different. However, we run the program as one entity. It's kind of silly to do anything for just 6 counties over there, so we run it all together. We do have wider scope, so the homepage for the program, the homepage for the game, the forum, the blog. Here's the First Tech email blasts that go out, a link to those. First Tech challenges on Reddit, that's unofficial. There's a First Tech challenge on Discord, also unofficial. There's an FTC Share and Learn group on Facebook. And the Orange Alliance used to exist as a scoring, but again, headquarters says they're going to do that this year. So we'll see. So you could get to us from the archive to sign up. We also down here have our socials. So there's our Twitter, there's our Facebook. Facebook has a form to sign up, email sign up right there. So you can sign up for the newsletter through Facebook. We also have Flickr, which is where we put all our event pictures. You're welcome to use those for press releases, yearbook pictures, all those kind of things. Did I beat that one to death? I took it and ran with it, and I got all my social stuff in, Tom.
Got it all covered at once, sir. we got a question about how will we determine what teams make up each league, and can this change next year as more are added back?
Yeah.
So the answer is yes. Things can change year to year. They will as we need to. This year with remote, we're going to make sure they're as balanced as possible for simplicity, because we can. So a team that is like on the boundary of one, if we need to shift them one way or the other, we will do that this year. Next year, we're hoping to be able, I mean, we were at 220 teams roughly last year. We're hoping that going into a non-COVID year, that jumps back up quite a bit from where we're at. And so we anticipate leagues expanding again. And I really do want to look at what makes logical sense, not just, hey, look, it's essentially a rectangle, we can cut it in 4 corners. Because I know mountain ranges get in the way, and sometimes it looks like the one place is a lot further to get to than another, and it turns out that no, that one's really a lot better. So we'll be looking at that as we try and put leagues together, and really trying to make sense to do what's in the best interest of teams, right? Try and minimize travel for costs for you all. And we do have a couple unique situations. We have some school systems that have 12 teams at a school, that if we put them all as one league, that's half a league. And they may like that may work well for them, and it may not. And so individual situations like that, we may talk to coaches and say, what is your preference in it? That doesn't mean we're going to be open to everybody saying, oh no, I want to be in this league instead of that one, because that becomes a real mess. But unique situations like that, where you've got a large number of teams at a single place, it potentially, there's good and bad on both sides of filling a league with just one school. And we want to consider that in some of the setup. So as to when, we're waiting until, I would say that we're waiting until November 1st, but yesterday I did some playing around already and have 26-ish teams in 4 different leagues. And Laura said, wait, we've got 20 some more teams coming. And I went, okay, so we'll have 5 leagues with 20 some teams. So I'm starting to kind of play with filling that out a little bit of what they might look like.
He's anxious.
I'm anxious. I'm the numbers
So
guy.
Tom and I have been doing this together for years, and we have this discussion every year. He's like, now we don't need that many meets, and he wants to close them so it's all locked down. And I'm the one that's doing all the contact with the team saying, are you coming back? Are you maybe coming back? What do we need to do? The school board still has to vote or approve our fees or whatever. So I am holding him back. But if you ask him today, what would the leagues look like? Do you want to tell us what your thoughts are that way, Tom? Does that help?
Sure. Right now, the way things kind of look, we would have one league that is pretty much the southern part of the state. If you look at Southeast and Southwest and combine the teams from both of those, we'd have one league that is the Northwest, which was the Northwest Conference, centered mostly around Kansas City. And then we'd have 2 that are based out of the Northeast Conference, which was St. Louis, just because of how things balance out. When we set up the leagues, like I said, I want to make them as even as possible. I also want to leave room for growth, in that after we know after October 30th, there's still going to be teams that say, hey, we can register now, can we play? And one of the advantages to 5 meets is the answer is yes, you can still get 2 meets in January. So unlike other years where we scrambled really hard to find places for people to play, this year that's an advantage we've got. We should make use of it if we can. So that's our plan with it. And I really want leagues to be ideally 24 teams to 36. If we go too much below 20, then it loses some of that competitive flavor, and anything over 36 starts to be more of a problem for us for the league championships for judging. Because one of the costs we'll have this year, which we haven't had in the past, we have to pay for the extra channels to be able to do the judging rooms. And we found out about that just a couple days ago now. And so we have to consider that in things.
Wait for the scores. So the top 10 scores from your meets come in. You have 6 new scores at the league championship. The top 15 determine your
16. So
16.
well, no, it's the 10. It's your 10 best from the meets,
Mhm.
and then the 6 from that week from your league championship.
Okay.
So if you're doing the math, that's 10 out of 16. That's what, 5/8. So that's 60. Was that 62.75%? 63.75% comes from your meet play. Now, of course, in a regular in-person event, that wouldn't matter as much. It would help with the rankings, right? But we all know when you go to alliance selection, you're not just looking at rankings, you're looking at how did the team perform? Can you work with the team? There's a lot of other considerations that go into it. And so in a regular in-person one, we wouldn't have that same issue of it's just the best scores. And that's one of the reasons if we can do state with some in-person for eliminations, we really want to, because it changes the dynamic a lot when you actually get to see the other robots play on the field, see how you work with them, see how you interact with them. That's such a big piece of the final gameplay is your teamwork, and we want to try and work with that.
People checking your math on the feed.
5/8 is not a common one I use. So yeah, the meet scores do carry more this year, but that advantage is it's your 10 best, right? So you
Well,
go to
and
you go
they
to your
counted
first meet.
before. In our
Yeah,
old system, they counted, but they counted independently to get you to that conference qualifier. So you had your overall performance at a qualifier, and then you were looking at your meets coming around to get you to the conference qualifier, and we had all the rankings and the floating, and it always caused questions and issues. And we had discussions in all the coach meetings last year at the qualifiers about adding your meet scores too. Remember, I think we did it at every qualifier. We talked about how would you feel about that getting rolled in. And so again, they all kind of came together to say we need to move to leagues. The awards are important, the participation is important, the robot is important. But with that multiple meet play opportunity, yeah, to get your top 10.
So we've also got another question about, are we using average of scores this year like we did last year, or is it just the sum of the top 10? It is just sum of the top 10. So it's back to the way it was. It's not average, it's just what are your 10 best, and it adds up.
Okay. Do we have any rookie coaches out there that are dying to ask some of our, you don't have to ask Tom and I, you can ask the group for hints and tricks and sanity savers.
So can we spread the meet matches across the whole week? Absolutely. You can run one on Sunday, work with your robot, run another one Tuesday after you've made some changes, work with your robot, run another one on Thursday, work with your robot, run another one Friday, realize you didn't get your other 2 in and try and cram them in at the last second like we know students are going to.
People delay doing things?
Yeah.
Like putting their PowerPoints together the night before a live stream? Huh. Okay. I want to bring up one that I hit in the Tech Tuesday last week or this week. And the only person that questioned me on it was Travis. The fact that you must register your youth members in the system. So who's having heart attacks out there? Raise your hand. The idea is that with remote with remote events, there's nowhere to turn in the paper. I also will say that I mailed our consent and release forms from last season to headquarters, and it weighed 37 pounds. 37 pounds of paper, all those trees we killed, to send in consent and release forms in a box that are going to sit and have to be stored somewhere and protected because they contain personally identifiable information that puts us at risk of all sorts of privacy, hacky kind of things. I also, on the other hand, had teams last year who did use the dashboard and handed me a one-sheet piece of paper that was their roster, that had their mentors on it and had all their students on it. I had teams that obviously turned in like a piece of paper and said, we're team 1, 2, 3, 4, and it was handwritten, all these people, and then like 20 things stapled behind it. First, really, really want you to do it. So I would suggest you start early so that you have time to do that. I know a suggestion from Rala years ago was to have a parent meeting and have them come in and you'll help them register with First on the website. Sit down right here. We'll do it together kind of thing. Anybody else got any hints? The paper was an exception in the past. And their thought was it would be far and few between because it was intended for families that did not have internet capabilities. But like I said, lots of people were just taking it as the easy way out, just sending the paper home. So we do have to do that this year. Nobody's sent me, terrible comments about that. Parents, I know. Ask early, ask often. Give prizes. Give the kids extra credit if their parents do it. And so then the kids will make the parents do it. I don't know. Challenges, yeah. Okay. So Phil is back. The field walkthrough went well and was done early. I'm sure Robin's done because she didn't think the Kahoot would really take that long.
Yeah, they're looking at the virtual game now.
Okay. So we want to tell the coaches about the virtual game.
There's one of the FRC teams has created a true virtual version of the game for FTC this year. And there's a way to go in and set your robots and set what kind of wheels and then play it. I don't know a lot about it. Matt Schneider's demonstrating that over on the First MOKS2 channel at the moment.
Which will be recorded and will be on YouTube. It is obviously First was very particular with us this year that we are remote play. We still want hands-on. So we want your kids to get the opportunity to learn how to build a robot, wire a robot, all those kind of things. But what Matt said he uses that virtual one for is game strategy kind of stuff. Again, not as applicable this year when you're just going to play by yourself, but could help you learn the rules, could help you with the scoring, maybe kind of thing. So, and there we go. There's the link in the chat. It's cool. It is cool. Okay. I mean, I was figuring, 10:45 if we were lucky. Anybody got anything? Ruth has put in the chat and also emailed me that Knob Noster's got a field.
I'm just curious, how many of you think you would want to do 2 meets in December and 3 in January versus 1 in December and 4 in January? Eventually, we'll have a Google form of some kind coming out for y'all to pick things, but if anybody wants to comment on that, it could be useful.
Yeah, so Ruth's an FRC team too, so she's going to want to play early. Again, Robert's in there with Phil somewhere, but FRC season has been extended as well, right? So First has drawn everything out, so we don't really know if there will be live events in FRC or when they would be. So it's one of the discussions that First had. They weren't sure, like for class packs, things like that. They focus on the smaller, sizable programs that could be in a classroom kind of thing, and they leave FRC off. FRC was the one they weren't sure because the experience. I'm making sure I say this right. Wheels on carpet, Michael? Is that the term? Wheels on carpet. We need wheels on carpet for the best FRC experience. So they weren't sure how it was going to happen. They weren't sure if some FRC teams weren't going to come down to FTC for the opportunity to build a new robot this year, as opposed to modifying last year's robot to play the same game. I have not seen that happen in our registrations. And I know those of you who have FTC and FRC are trying to figure out how it's all going to work. But Michael is our St. Louis regional and Robert is the Kansas City area regionals. And I know those guys have had lots and lots of meetings trying to figure out what FRC is going to look like. Are you reading all of these?
Yeah, I was keeping a
Even
little
if there's
chart.
2 in December, you don't have to play in both of them.
Right. Does
Right.
it, you could play in one and not the other, and then you got the 3 in January as well.
Is there a minimum
Is there a minimum of?
number of teams? So if your league offered both of them in December and everybody picked December, I don't even know what the calendar looks like, 9th, and 2 people picked the 16th, you can't run with just 2, or can you? Because it
Mike,
doesn't matter.
Couldn't we this year?
I think we could, but
in a-
now I'm asking myself as I walk through this.
In a normal year, we couldn't, right? You need at least 6 for any kind of competition on a field. But with the remote, I don't see that there isn't a reason. It's something we can look at and think about. But I would really kind of like to have enough of the coach consensus in the league on which days, so that there's a higher probability of.
Right.
of
But they
teams being
can't
able to-
pick until they know what league they're in and all of those things. This is me holding you back again. I know.
Yes, it is.
Sorry. Yeah, everything I'm reading, everything. It's like, yeah. Brian wants them because he's got classes. Because he's doing it in the classroom and he's up to multiple teams over there. Iteration time is obviously a concern. That's the great thing about meets, just in general, right? You play it, you do it again, you play it, you do it again. Lego, yeah. So Eastern Missouri has moved their competitions to January, February. I think it was February. Wasn't it straight February? Maybe they haven't announced. Maybe I should keep my mouth closed.
Well,
Um,
that also depends because KC, I don't know what their first Lego League season is or center of the state.
mhm.
We just know Eastern Missouri is doing January, February instead of November, December. Because
Right.
they're in the same boat we are as far as needing the event hub to be ready. Because a lot of all their judging is done virtually and they just can't do it until first gets their software together.
Don't lose your mind. Don't lose your mind. Okay, are we running out? Anybody else got any burning issues? You know our email. You know, I'm happy to take the emails, any emails to ftc@stlfirst.org, and then I will send them out, right? I don't feel like you have to ask on Facebook and Twitter and me and Phil and, you know, all of those kind of things. Try to remember that FTC address as your one place to go for Missouri, Kansas information. One-stop shopping, because you know, there's lots of you that have known me for years and still, you know, have my personal email address. It just makes my life a little bit harder keeping track of where things are coming from. And we're pretty good, all of us working together. I think we've got a great committee. Again, all committed to what's the best for the teams. And so, you know, Phil and I have been on a lot of calls with newer teams over in Kansas. We tried some of those coach calls. We're happy to do more. The trick was the Zoom is limited to 100 participants and we weren't sure how many we'd get. So that's why we're all in a Zoom that's streaming to Twitch. But if we need to do some more coach calls, especially since I'm not hearing a whole lot out of my rookies, if we want to do a rookie coach call on a Zoom, more than happy to do that. Whatever works for you guys. I saw more come in. Oh, Central Missouri. So yes, so we are FTC for all of Missouri. Michael's FRC St. Louis, Robert's FRC Kansas City, but we do have 3 Lego partners. So we have the Eastern Missouri, we have the Central Missouri out of Camdenton, and we have Kansas City out of KC STEM with Chrissy. So there's lots of moving parts. And if you're involved in multiple programs, it makes life interesting. But I will say, having done this with all of my children, those are amazing memories. Being involved with your kids on a program that brings these kind of opportunities and memories. So hang in there. It'll probably only last for a few more years. Tony's ready to mentor. Thanks, Tony. Right, and we do, so the new DoD STEM team, so we always, this is that rookie matching up kind of thing. So we do have a new team at, I'm gonna say it wrong again, Fort McConnell Air Force Base. And so we teamed them up with the Stealth Panthers that are also associated with the Air Force Base here in Missouri. So it was like, you know, DoD kind of thing. We put people that are private teams together. We put schools together. We try to do whatever we can. Yep, McConnell. Okay, Springfield's ready to mentor, so we can help match folks up. Are we ready to wrap up? Is my question.
It sure seems to me like we've gotten a good set out there and had a good set of questions, and it seems like a good place before people totally bail to thank Robert and Phil and Jeff Owsley and our behind the scenes tech team that handles Twitch for us. the rest of the committee folks that you guys didn't meet. There's a good group of us that meet once a month and more when we need to. That's a combination of coaches and lead people, and we're all volunteers. The Dean's List, we try and have a Dean's List student or two on there for some student perspective. You know, when we say something about, oh yeah, Facebook's good for that, and they laugh at us, it's humbling. We really do operate on what is in the best interest of the teams, and we mean that. We love to hear from you all, and we try and make things work as best we can. And headquarters knows it, and they listen to us because you all have such great ideas, and we're known and respected for that as a region across the country. People know it. So thank you all.
Thanks, everybody. Have a great Saturday. I'm going to end the stream.